So talk some NBA, and you might want to talk about no loss November for the Suns to kick us off.
Yeah, Devin Booker. Yeah. He tweeted no loss November, possibly a shout out to something that I've heard of called No Nut November.
Which he failed.
Yeah, I've never really tried it, to be honest.
Within an hour.
Well,
What do you call it? Like 1 a.m. 1st of November.
I don't know. It sounds like a fucking stupid challenge to me, if I'm being honest. But let's talk about Suns basketball. This again, it's like last year. They just play good team basketball. They have six players averaging double-digit points. Of course, Devin Booker and CP3 in that. DeAndre Ayton, he is having himself a season. 16 points, 12 rebounds, shooting the ball at 63% from the field. The big three there for them, all averaging double digits. But then really good input from Mikal Bridges, JaVale McGee, and our man, our favourite on the Esky, Frank the Tank Kaminsky. He is at the Phoenix Suns and he is putting it in. Again, always the question mark is, can they do it? You know, come June, come July, can they go deep? They showed last year that they can go deep, but they just fell short. But nothing to sneeze at. A 17-game win streak there for the Phoenix Suns. We did allude to it earlier in the podcast. The desert state, the what do they call it? The Valley of the Sun, something like that.
Your story.
The guys in the desert out at Phoenix, they've got a really good football team. They've got a really good basketball team moving forward. Now, look, boys, it is probably a week old now, but we have to talk about it. LeBron James, him and Isaiah Stewart, there was an incident. It did kind of look a little bit intentional from Bron.
Oh, big time.
Going back, he cuts up Isaiah Stewart.
Well, it wasn't. The elbow wasn't just straight back. It was actually up and elevated to hit him square in the face.
Dog shot or accidental?
Nah, dog shot.
Dog shot. Agreed. Yeah, agreed. Look, LeBron's got a pretty squeaky clean record.
Been in the news a lot this way, the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Besides this, but anyway.
A little bit out of character for him. What about...
They're having a tough season, so I think he's frustrated. Let's put it that way. And wouldn't surprise me if Stewart's been into him all game and he's just like, fuck you.
Yep.
Let me sneak this elbow in. And I think, they both get ejected. I think Stewart got fined more than LeBron did.
Interesting.
But I think that's more because of Stewart's actions after the event.
Run us through those if you would.
Well, I think he's missed tackles and post yards after contact would be pretty good. Yeah, exactly.
Trucking it up. That was, I reckon, 7 missed tackles.
Yeah. Yeah, he had 3 or 4 attempts and definitely got through. What was it? Dwight Howard, I think, had his best defensive game, kind of standing in the way of Stewart trying to get to LeBron in this.
Yep.
So a lot of memes came out of that. Ended up, that was last week's news and not too much else came out of that besides a bit of fines for them.
One game
suspensions. Yeah, so not a huge thing.
Then LeBron came back against the Pacers, and by all accounts, what was said from the front row to him was disgusting.
Yeah. A few women.
It was a young couple. Allegedly had made remarks around Bronny, LeBron's son, saying that they hope he dies in a car accident
hope his son dies. And LeBron's was like, fuck you guys.
Rightfully so. LeBron's got that kind of clout where he can just point at the seckies and just say, those two out of here, and that's what happened. I think they were making a boohoo kind of gesture as they got escorted out of the arena there. The comments were kind of funny. Like, I don't want to, condone any kind of, behaviour like that, but, some of the terminology that was getting thrown around was like le Karen, le snitch, le kicked you out. I quite liked out. I quite like that, if you will.
I think, in all seriousness, it was fair. Like if some random couple showed up to your workplace and then started talking about your family members dying, you'd be like, hold on a second.
And you're 6'8", a supreme athlete, and they're 5'7", haven't seen a gym since 1998, then yeah, I think you're within your reason.
Born in 1998.
That's probably when they were born, and that's probably the last time they saw it. You know, when they were getting driven home by mum and dad to go home, in which they never partook in lifting weights or being any kind of athlete. Yeah, look, people like to shit on LeBron. They like to, gang up on him. But if that's what's said, good, kick them out. There's no room in the game for that. Fuck that off. Good on you, LeBron. And just quietly, he had 39 points in that game. They won it in overtime. He is an arguable GOAT. The Lakers obviously do a lot better when he is playing. That was a big story out of the Lakers in this last week. Yep. And for mine, good on him.
Yeah. So we should probably talk about Josh Giddey. And Monks, do you want to bring up the table while we do? He has joined LaMelo Ball, and LeBron James as the only teenagers to have 100 assists, 100 boards in their first 20 games, and he's only played 18. So he's been pretty impressive. By all accounts, the American media loves him, and the young Australian. So he's been pretty impressive of late.
Top 5 in Rookie of the Year betting from all of what I was saying. I saw a really nice photo on his Instagram this week. I think the caption was something along the lines of playing against idols. And it was him guarding Paul George and Steph Curry. Yep. As a 19-year-old coming out of Australia, to be out there and absolutely in awe and in respect and, just lost for words to be sharing a court with blokes like that. Josh Giddey, he looks like a really good talent in the NBA, and obviously as Australians, love to see him going forward doing some stuff with the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So if we take a look at the standings, I thought it was interesting seeing the Ball brothers taking each other on with the Hornets and the Bulls playing during the week. But the Bulls have been pretty impressive. They keep their position in 4th place there.
Wearing the hat. I don't actually have a team in the NBA. Maybe I should choose. But the Bulls, led by Zach LaVine, looking really, really nice. They are 4th in the East there. But mind you, we spoke about the Suns. The Warriors keep going about their business there, 18-3. Steph, short price favourite to be the MVP out there.
Before we deeper into the West, just to finish on the East, we were talking about Atlanta a couple of weeks ago, where they are. They started to move their way up. 2 playoff teams from last year kind of going the other way in the Knicks and the 76ers, kind of really struggling of late as well. Yeah,
Ben Simmons watch. Where's
nothing new. So I think he hasn't played, of course, and he's still sitting around, potentially getting. I think he's getting fined, but he's not going to play for them, and they can't find a trade partner currently. They did lose their last one, but yeah, they're currently sitting 11-11 at 500. But like I said, in the West, Suns and Warriors kind of, and I guess across the league, kind of putting themselves out there in front of everyone. They've got a 3-game lead on the next closest team in the Nets from the East. They've got a 4-game lead, of course, on the Jazz, who's in 3rd place in the West. And, even they've got a 3-game lead on Dallas in 4 there. So, they're very clearly kind of putting themselves ahead. Probably a good thing for the Lakers, who've been struggling at 500. Don't have a long way to quickly get themselves into 4th place there. So
they get out of the West. The Lakers, they're probably a little bit underwhelming as it is, but 12-11 early in the year wouldn't surprise me if the Lakers finish top 4.
Yeah, well, Grizzlies maybe a bit of surprise there at
Ja Morant.
500, considering you've got the Nuggets and say the Clippers there all below them as well. 2 teams that I believe made playoffs last year as well.
And shout out to Ja Morant. He has the most points in the paint, if you will. I on a per game basis this year, a undersized point guard can go up and take it to the rim. That's real. That's really cool to see. Obviously, the paint tends to get dominated by taller, stronger, big fellas, and Ja just continues to defy, if you will, the critics. The Memphis Grizzlies cruising along pretty well there at 11-10.
Yeah, but as always, still pretty early in the season. What, another 40-odd matches to be played by each team?
More than that, we got...
how long's the season?
82 games.
82 games.
60 games to go.
Yeah, so a lot of basketball still to happen. A lot
to
can
go.
change.
Yeah.
So,